Live from Sin City, it's the Socks and Pinstripes Podcast. And now, here's the star of the show, Diet Dr. Griffin!
This is Diet Dr. Griffin back with another episode of the Socks and Pinstripes Podcast. Like, rate, and subscribe. It's the week before Christmas, and we got some horrible news yesterday. Shane, you want to tell us what this horrible bit of news was?
Oh, one of the greatest men to ever play the game of baseball, Rickey Henderson, is no longer with us.
Yeah, and Rickey Henderson was actually born on Christmas. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I just looked at the years that he was alive. I didn't even look at the birth date. Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, he was born on
Yeah.
Christmas,
Yeah.
and just very, very, very sad. I mean, Rickey was an all-timer, not just in terms of how he was on the field, but personality-wise. He always talked in the third person. Rickey doesn't like this sort of thing. And Rickey don't like when you talk about Rickey that way. And Rickey be stealing all the bases. Even now, he'd be stealing 200 bases a year.
So he's like Bob Dole, essentially.
I mean, yeah, and they made a big deal. Do you remember the movie Little Big League? The one where
No,
the kid became the owner of the Twins.
no, I don't
There
remember
was
that.
a subplot in the movie where he was trying to get Rickey Henderson to sign with the Twins, and
Okay.
then the little kid started talking in third person like Rickey Henderson. He was getting all full of himself and swallowed up by the baseball stuff. So I just found
Oh,
that kind of funny.
yeah, I didn't realize that he not only, I mean, I knew that he was the stolen base leader, but I didn't know that like by millions and millions of miles, basically.
Yeah, and
The next closest person to him is like under 1,000, and he's almost at 1,500,
he just eclipsed 1,400.
1,400.
1,406 stolen bases.
Oh, Rickey, I was going to give you 15, so.
He's also the league all-time leader in caught stolen bases. He got caught 335 times.
Well, I think didn't he try more than everyone else too? So,
I'm sure that's a factor.
yeah.
And of course, here's the other unheralded thing. He also is the all-time leader in runs.
Yeah, and that's what you need to win games, which I did not know that. So,
Yeah, he has 2,295 runs.
wow. That is a lot. That is a lot.
Yeah, he also managed to eclipse, 3,000 hits, 500
Yeah.
doubles. He nearly had 300 homers, so he did have some power. He did play for a
Yeah.
while too, but he had some power, had over 1,000 RBI. And here's the thing that like people kind of don't give him credit for. He had a phenomenal batter's eye.
Oh yeah, he took a lot of walks, and he had that super low crouch too to try to get strikes for balls.
Yeah, he led the league multiple years in walks and ended with a 401 on base percentage.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because in
So
order for you to be able to steal a base, you actually have to be on base. And Rickey was on base over 40% of the time that he
yeah,
reached the plate. I mean,
Ellie, start taking notes, cause you
yeah,
could use them.
yeah, that's the unsung part of Rickey's career. And Rickey went around and played on a lot of different teams, won multiple World Series. He probably had his best run and was probably most known for his time with the Oakland Athletics.
Yeah, and they retired his jersey number 24 too. So
Oh, for sure. Do you think
yeah,
he's probably the best player to ever play for that team? Because they've had some really good players.
yeah. I mean, probably because they had the Bash brothers, but they were taking PEDs. So
Yeah, Dennis Eckersley had a major big run with that team as well.
yeah.
He
Oh yeah,
won.
I always forget about Eckersley. He was a fantastic ball player too. So
Yeah, but
yeah.
Rickey, we're gonna miss you. There's nobody else that ever played the game like you, man.
Yeah, and to quote Bill James, he said, "If you could split him into two, you'd have two Hall of Famers."
Yeah, that's how good Rickey
That's
was.
yeah, that's how great he was. Just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I got to see him play a little bit in Boston because he had his second to last season in Boston, and he was still a gem to watch even then. I
No,
mean, he's
man,
like 43 years old.
yeah, super jealous. He also had that when he would take the lead off at first base, he'd actually scoot back from the bag, which players don't do, and he, like towards the outfield, and then take his lead. So
It must have been like a way that he maybe tried to approach the bag.
yeah, I think so, especially on pickoff attempts. But I noticed that I was watching highlights before the show, and he does like a weird like scoot back towards the outfield, and then he would like take off. So
Well, in free agency this week, we had this seemed to be like the week of first baseman. That's kind of the gist of things.
yeah,
Well,
for
kind of,
everyone except for the Mariners. So
well, there's still time. Um, we'll start with the big move that the Yankees made because they went out and got Cody Bellinger from the Cubs.
yep. Oh,
And
tell our viewers what you told me about them. Hit someone's ex-girlfriend is someone's
oh
wife
well,
now, or
well,
yeah,
well, Cody Bellinger's wife is Giancarlo Stanton's ex.
yeah. Let's go. I wonder how that's gonna work out.
Well, I'm sure there's a reason why the two aren't dating anymore, and
Yeah,
I'm sure all parties involved are happy.
yeah.
Let's
But
just
reunited, and it feels so good. So
yeah. The Cubs are gonna be sending over $5 million in this deal. The way that it shakes out is that's gonna be 5 million. I'm sorry, 5 million over the 2 years on his deals, only 2.5 million this year.
okay, gotcha.
The plan, I believe, is to play Bellinger in the outfield so that they can move Judge out of center field.
Yeah, that makes
But
sense. Especially
I'm
since Jazz played so well at the hot corner. I was like really surprised by how well he played there. So
I'm though not a fan of Bellinger on a whole. I don't think he's very good anymore. I think the Yankees are paying too much of his contract, to be honest.
it's kind of, yeah, it's an interesting, not only is it an interesting division, it's a close division. It's the hardest division in baseball, and it just seems like every team is just paling in comparison to the Dodgers right now. I mean, I read a report the other day that they already, based on the money that they made off of Shohei Ohtani's image NIL, they have already paid his salary, like the whole 700 whatever million. So,
I can believe that. I can believe
yeah.
that. They're going to be, I mean, they were going to be selling his stuff for years.
Yeah. And he won the World Series the first. I mean, that's just like it's insane. And so, we've been talking about how like they're spending all this money. I mean, I guess they have it, so which is irritating for someone who's a fan of a small market team who refuses to spend money on anything
Yeah.
to just
Yeah.
watch, the rich get richer, I guess.
Watching the
So,
Red Sox play like a small market team, doesn't make
yeah.
anybody want to be a fan of theirs. And neither are these Yankees off-season moves, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are trying to make me be a Mets fan at this point. It's like I'm not impressed with this Yankees offseason whatsoever. I'm like,
Yeah.
we'll get
You
to
should be a
yeah.
Mets fan because they're the real team of New York, anyways, Griffin.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Their stadium is around a bunch of chop shops, and you know, Cohen wants to build a casino there.
Yeah. Well, and the Mets have a good chance. Like the Yankees just say Yankees, but the Mets have Mets, 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 Mets.
And they have Grimace. They have Grimace.
And they have a Grimace chair that you can
Yes.
dress up in Grimace themed costume to sit in. So,
Yes, yes. And I actually got a photo of Mr. and Mrs. Met when I was up at the home run derby.
mhm.
So maybe I need to change my image to that one instead of the Philly fanatic.
Yeah, I think so. that feels appropriate. So
Yeah. So the Orioles, speaking of the AL East, the Orioles went and signed Japanese pitcher Tomoyuki Sugano to a 1 year, $13 million deal. He's a veteran pitcher in Japan with amazing control, but I don't know how his stuff is going to translate here.
I mean, they just need good. They've always just needed good pitching, so it's
They
better.
need
I
an
mean,
ace, though. They need
yeah,
an ace. Like that.
yeah,
That's the thing. They're going to lose. I doubt they're going to re-sign Burns.
yeah,
But they need an ace, and they probably have to trade for one at this point.
yeah. I mean, I honestly, personally, I like those control guys. I mean, Marco Gonzalez is the example that I know most because he was in Seattle for the longest time, and he was the guy in Seattle, and he pitched to contact,
Oh
and
yeah, I mean, there's
yeah,
no, I'm nothing against the guy. It's a 1 year,
yeah,
$13 million deal. Like that's
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Mystery box almost since he hasn't pitched over here.
Yeah, exact. That's like, I guess the gamble is you get with that type of pitcher, you get Marco Gonzalez in his prime, which is your number one rotation guy, or you
Yeah.
get the Marco Gonzalez that didn't even make the playoff roster when they broke the drought of millions of years that it took for us to get just back to the playoffs. So
And speaking of our Mets, or my Mets, I should say, Griffin
yeah,
Canning, former
you can say
Angel,
our Mets. I like the Mets. I don't like
our
the
Mets,
Yankees,
our
but
Mets.
yeah.
Griffin Canning has finally got a home. He was traded to Atlanta for Jorge Soler and then non-tendered immediately. So he's with the Mets.
Yeah.
Mike Soroka signed with the Nationals, pitcher there.
Okay.
The Phillies, they signed Max Kepler, former Twinkies outfielder,
Oh,
to a
yeah.
one-year
Okay.
deal.
I always like he was always kind of hot and cold, but when Kepler plays well, the team around him plays well. So I think he'd be
Kepler is
better than Nick Castellanos, or maybe not, but
Kepler's been one of those guys who has had some power years and then had a good on base percentage, and that they have a lot of those on base guys in that Phillies lineup there.
if they can get Castellanos and Kepler to hit for power the way that they do when they're hot, I think that team has a chance to win the World Series, which is what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
So
yeah. The Athletics are assigning Gio Urshela. Always nice to see him get some work.
yeah, okay.
Now the Red Sox and their
Wait,
infinite
is
wisdom,
is Ursula going to play he's going to play the hot corner or
probably, but
yeah,
Urshela can play around in the
yeah,
infield.
yeah.
The Red Sox signed the Irish Panda, Patrick Sandoval, to a 2 year, $18 million contract, and Sandoval is currently recovering from Tommy John surgery. So,
And why is he called the Irish Panda?
well, because his name is Patrick, and he has the last name of Sandoval, which is, Kung Fu Panda.
Exactly.
I didn't come up with the nickname, but that's now.
Yeah, that's talk about. So that's kind of like the same thing that the Orioles are doing with the Japanese pitcher. Just total wild card if he'll be good or not when he comes
Well,
back.
no, but
So
like the Red Sox aren't even are doing the whole we're gonna pay you while you're recovering from Tommy John surgery.
yeah, yeah, that's the
They
other
did that
thing.
with Liam Hendricks last year for like $10 million, and I can understand that, but spending
Yeah,
almost $20 million on a guy who, when held, I mean, let's be fair, Liam Hendricks was like a top five closer when he was healthy. Like Patrick
yeah,
Sandoval was like a middle of the road pitcher
yeah,
for the
yeah.
Angels. Like,
No offense, Sandoval, but
no,
yeah,
no offense, I
that's
don't
who you
dislike.
were. So
You weren't
that's
that
who you
good.
were.
Now
I
one
mean, maybe
of the
their new pitching coach sees something good in him. I mean, I have like after he took your starting rotation and did what he did with it last year, I'm just like, you got 100% of my belief until it doesn't work anymore. So
there seems to be a different approach to how they're grabbing players now and
yeah,
prioritizing certain positions.
yeah.
Now, the first basemen have had a bit of a roulette period. There was some talk about Nolan Arenado potentially sliding over to first base, and he actually rejected a deal to the Astros that came out earlier this week.
Oh, I
And then
That's surprising because that's normally where third basemen wind up, and they actually play pretty well in the later years. So
Yeah. And so the Astros actually responded and they signed Christian Walker to be their first baseman.
yeah, that is a fan. I wish the Mariners would have made this signing because we need a first baseman. I'm assuming they were just too cheap, or Christian Walker didn't want to come here to die. But that I am so jealous of the Astros for grabbing him.
Yeah, and so they signed him for 3 years, $60 million, which seems like a pretty good deal. Should have been on the All-Star team last year, Walker
Oh
was.
yeah,
And he plays
absolutely.
excellent defense.
Yeah,
He's a three-time Gold Glove winner.
I think
And
he's easily worth 20 million a year though. Like that might even be underpaying for him. So
yeah, and this pretty much, I think, takes them out of the Bregman sweepstakes because now you have Paredes pretty much going to cover third base, I would assume at this point.
yeah, he's been playing over there for quite a while
Yeah,
now.
now
So
that you got Walker, I mean, you could have, if you wanted to keep Bregman, you could have slid Paredes to first. But
yeah,
now that you have Walker there, you're going to keep Paredes at third base, and Bregman's going to move on somewhere else.
yeah, exactly. And honestly, I think that currently, right now, Paredes is probably the better option over Bregman. No offense, Breggers, you had a great career so far, and probably will still have a couple more good years. But Paredes is 25, and his ceiling is high. So
Yeah, I don't know what Bregman's going to get. I don't think it's going to be as much as he wants. I
yeah,
think he's going to be one of those guys that signs a pillow contract.
yeah, or a prove it contract.
Well,
one
yeah,
year. Get out and get it. So
I think he'll get more. I think he'll get a player option, kind of like how Correa and Bellinger and other Boris clients got those kind of deals.
yeah, yeah.
Now,
Is Correa gonna play on the Twinkies next year? Is he gonna be hurt for half the season again? Although
I don't
he was
know.
having a career year before he got hurt this year, so or last year. So
The
you know.
Yankees, though, they went and signed Paul Goldschmidt yesterday to a 1 year, $12.5 million deal.
Oh, I missed this. Goldie's on the Yankees. All right.
Yeah, there were a lot of first baseman activity lately. And
Yeah.
Taylor, when I told her about it, she said at least he was quick and cheap. And I'm not joking. Literally, the first thing I thought of was he's the hot and ready of first baseman, like Little Caesar's Pizza.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Someone at my job said that their favorite pizza was Little Caesars, and I was like, "Do you even like pizza? Do you even know what pizza is, honestly?" So,
when I was a kid, I liked Little Caesar's Pizza.
yeah, because you're a kid, so and then
I
it's
always
not
liked
pizza.
I always liked the square pizza.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
to
What is
the
that?
and
Like the Sicilian pizza?
well,
Yeah.
they're actually Detroit style pizza.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Little Caesars is, Detroit style, and they're based out of Detroit, that area.
Yeah.
And Detroit has that specific kind of square pizza with the cheeses and everything. It was a big
Okay.
deal when I went to Detroit to get the
Yeah.
pizza. That was like one of the things that I prioritized on my trip there.
Yeah.
And
I was a West Coast kid. We just had CPK and Round Table. So,
yeah, and my opinion, Detroit style pizza is the best style of pizza.
okay. I
It's
mean, honestly, it
my
looks like a
favorite.
lasagna, basically.
That's kind of more like Chicago style pizza.
Oh, okay.
Chicago style pizza has the more the layers and
Yeah.
and they put the sauce on top over
Okay. So I just
the
need to go on a pizza tour of the Midwest, is what you're telling me right now. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
They have a Jets Pizza, which is one of the Detroit pizza chains that came out here recently, and it is the closest thing to real Detroit style pizza that I can get out here.
Oh man, I just want pizza for lunch now.
Well, the Diamondbacks, since they lost Christian Walker, they went out and traded for Josh Naylor from the Guardians.
Yeah, so Josh Naylor is one of those guys who I always feel is he's good, but for whatever reason, I don't like the guy's play at first base. I don't know, and I guess I don't have any reason why. Otherwise, I just have like a bad feeling about him as a first baseman, which doesn't make any sense, but that's just the way I feel about it. So
Well, that was probably one of the better options that they could have gone with.
yeah,
And then the Guardians, they went out and signed Carlos Santana to a similar 1 year deal that the Yankees
yeah.
signed.
I like Santana. He was so good for our rookies on the Mariners. He's a great clubhouse guy. He's a genuine human. Him and Julio got along really well, and Julio needs like someone to help him navigate the craziness that it is being a professional athlete in the United States. And I was really sad to see him go when he left. Him and Teoscar. So.
I think Santana could have made a pretty decent fit at the Yankees actually as a first baseman too.
That is his most marketable asset is he's the dude on any team you want him to be on, and like he's immediately that guy, and that's why he's still getting these 1 year contracts. So
Yeah, I mean Goldschmidt's more of a name, certainly, and
yeah, I think Goldie's play dropped off pretty intensely this year.
he's 37 years old. I mean, he's
Yeah,
kind of starting to get to the tail end of his career, but he's more of a name than Carlos Santana,
yeah,
certainly.
exactly. But I think Carlos Santana is a better all around player.
I kind of think he is at this point too.
Yeah, and because with Goldie, you're getting Justin Turner essentially. So at
Yeah.
first base, anyway.
But no, that's
Which
not to
honestly,
knock.
Justin, I would be happy to have you back again in Seattle because I don't think we're gonna do better than you, buddy. So
And I don't want to knock Goldie at all because I have nothing against the guy. He's a good player. He's just
oh yeah,
kind of
Goldie,
getting.
you're just older now. We all get older. It happens, and you're one of the best, to play the game, and you're just older now. So
What's
no
interesting
offense,
though
buddy.
is what's interesting about this though is that this pretty much knocks a lot of the Pete Alonso teams out of the sweepstakes.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
most of the places where they were going to send Pete Alonso pretty much got first base covered now.
Well, and they got Pete Alonso potential at bargain prices, basically. They
Yeah.
went to Costco and they were like, "Oh, can I get the rotisserie chicken for $5, or do I buy the gourmet chicken from Metropolitan Market for 20?" No, I'll take the Costco $5 chicken that's gonna, perform the exact same way. So
Yeah. Yeah, maybe with a little less flavor.
yeah.
Uh,
Those Costco chickens are good though. Just
yeah.
no shade to Costco. So
Yeah. The Reds acquired Jose Trevino from the Yankees for a pitcher and a catcher.
interesting. What pitcher and catcher did they send to the Yankees?
Alex Jackson is the catcher and Fernando Cruz is the pitcher.
Oh,
So I
oh,
don't
yeah.
like know any of those
Okay.
guys.
Yeah, yeah, me neither. I guess, I mean, we'll see how that works out for them because they need pitching too over there. So I'm so
Um,
jealous. My dad got to see a game at their stadium this year. He's like, "Oh, it's so cool," and that's like, and you were saying it was so cool. I'm like, okay, well, eventually I'll get there. So
the Phillies actually made a big move like within the last hour. I don't know if you heard about it, but they acquired Jesus Luzardo from the Marlins.
really,
Yeah.
that is going to who'd they have to give up to get that, or did they just pay
Uh,
for him?
they gave up a couple of prospects. I
That's
don't
awesome.
know.
I
I
love it
don't
when
know.
teams give up prospects because it's like it benefits both people, but I feel like the team giving up the prospect, if they can get a player of that caliber, generally wins the trade unless the prospect, turns into something phenomenal. So,
Yeah, they're saying it's Starlin shortstop Starlin Caba, Starlyn, and
mhm.
outfielder Manuarn Boyd,
Oh,
Enaarion.
okay.
So I don't know how you I don't know how you pronounce some of those
Yeah,
names.
I think he did a great job. I'm not even going to try. So,
Yeah, yeah. Luzardo has some pretty decent upside there, and
oh yeah. I mean, well, the Marlins have that young pitching staff that is going to be good for a while and probably get traded away. But they have figured out how to get a lot of movement on the baseball when they throw it. So
Yeah, Phillies. I mean, the Phillies. The Marlins are supposed to be very good at developing the changeup in their pitchers, but
yeah,
they've managed.
they throw that circle change with the away movement, and it's almost got like a slider action the way that they get it to move. So
Yeah, so that's basically the free agent moves that have happened this week. Are you looking forward to Christmas, Shane?
I am looking forward to Christmas. I'm going to ask you about your tradition, but my tradition is I normally, when I'm by Christmas, when I'm doing Christmas by myself, not with the family, not with a significant other, it's just me on Christmas. I go treat myself to some dim sum and hang out in Chinatown. So, what about you,
Oh.
Griffin?
Well, I usually watch a lot of movies on Christmas, and I actually have a funny story. I injured my back working out on Christmas years ago.
Classic.
Yeah, yeah, I injured I herniated a disc in my back actually on
Oh,
Christmas.
geez, that's pretty serious, actually.
Yeah, well, I kept re-injuring it, so I
Yeah.
kept not healing it. So I'm glad that I'm not going to be working out on Christmas this year.
Yeah, there you go. Stay
The
away from
gym
the
is
gym,
closed.
Griffin. Yeah, it's bad for you. So.
Yeah, I don't deadlift like I used to with that. I'm gonna watch a couple movies. I'm gonna watch A Christmas Story. I'm gonna watch Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever, which is hilarious.
Oh, okay. That's new to me. I've never heard of that, so I'm gonna watch that too.
Yeah, it's a melodrama where Aubrey Plaza voices Grumpy Cat.
I love Aubrey Plaza, so that sounds perfect. So
Yeah, and Grumpy's making fun of the movie the entire time. It's a Lifetime movie.
perfect.
Yeah. So it's very cheap and PG-ish, but it's tongue in cheek and Grumpy's like making fun of the plot holes in the movie the entire time.
Yeah. So it's got a dash of like Mystery Science Theater then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and they always like they were talking about like watching the movie on social media or like while the movie was going on because they were making a big deal when it premiered, but the
Yeah.
movie's like 5, 6 years old at this point, but it's still funny.
Okay. Yeah. Because her character and who was her husband? What was his name?
I don't know. I didn't know that Aubrey Plaza was married.
Um, in the show, not in
Oh,
real life. Yeah.
I never watched the show that she was on, so
What? Okay. Well, you should definitely
I'm not
watch it. I
a
think you would
what's
actually
it,
really like it,
Parks and
Griffin. Yeah. I
Recreation?
think you
Yeah.
would actually really like it. It had Rashida Jones and Amy Pollack and
Yeah,
Rob Lowe.
I never
Yeah.
watched Parks and Recreation.
Ah, dude, worth the watch in my opinion. So worth the watch. Is that the so it's the guy who's the Guardians of the Galaxy. What's Flynn is his name, right? Or Quinn. Whoever is Quinn in
Oh, you
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Quill?
Quill, yeah.
Chris Pratt. Okay.
Yes, Chris Pratt, yeah. Was her.
Also Scott Hattenberg from Moneyball.
Yes.
It's very hard to play first base.
Which is why they always take third basemen who can't play third anymore and move them to first.
I
So
mean, there have actually been discussions about finally doing that with Rafi Devers this year if the Red Sox decide to trade Kristen Casas.
I think they should have done. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense honestly because once you can't make, you just have to have the arm strength to make that throw in, left field foul territory to first, which is what makes great third baseman. And once that throw goes away, you still have the reaction time of a third baseman, and you put that guy at first, and it's basically a brick wall over there. So,
Yeah, that was one of the things I think the Red Sox were inquiring also about maybe getting Nolan Arenado.
yeah, because he refused to play first base.
Well, no, because Arenado just has had a no trade clause, and the Astros were on the no trade.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Although it's strange, the reason that he gave for not wanting to sign or get traded was it was too early in the offseason.
Yeah, it is an odd move for sure.
was almost like he wanted to kind of see what other teams were doing before making up his mind. I don't know though. He's got a weird trade list because the Angels are on his trade list.
Yeah, well, I think he thought that they were going to do something with the two best players in baseball at the time, and
Well,
then
no,
they
like
did
right
nothing. So,
now, the Angels are on
oh,
his
right.
current. The Angels are on his current list of teams he would be willing to go to.
Yeah, maybe he just wants to go hang out with Mike Trout in Southern California, which
Yeah,
is
there's got to
apparently
be.
all what Mike Trout wants to do too. So,
Yeah, because he's got like all a lot of playoff teams on his thing, and then the Angels. I was like, what?
yeah. But they made a lot of, I mean, the Angels they've been one of the more active teams
Yeah, but
in baseball, so we'll see what happens. But
come on. Do you realistically think the Angels are going to have like a bottom, anything higher than the bottom five?
no, I
That
mean,
team is
no, but
terrible.
yeah, no, but
I mean, they're not
at
as
least
bad
they're
as the.
trying. At least they're trying, Mariners. At least they are trying.
Okay, that seems to be the memo. All Shane wants for Christmas is for the Mariners to start trying.
Yeah, do something. Do something, Jerry. I get it. Like Stanton is a person who owns the team, but like do something.
And on that note, please do something with your family
Yes, on Christmas.
or on whatever other holidays you celebrate. It doesn't have to be Christmas. It's
Yeah,
just the
yeah.
time, the year, the spirit of it all.
Call your mom and dad once a week. I started doing that after my grandfather had a stroke, and it's been one of the things that I look forward to every week is talking to my mom and dad. So,
All right. Well, on that note, see you guys. Happy holidays.
bye now.